Hello, everyone. Welcome to Long Road Sixth Form College's virtual open evening. My name is Owen Sherwood. I'm the course leader for the A-level design technology courses here. I'm going to spend a little time. I'm going to talk you through the two courses we have here. We'll talk a little bit about what's involved in the first year and the second year. You'll have the opportunity to type some questions in to the question and answer bar. And we've got someone else other than myself who can type up the answers for you. And hopefully it will all go quite smoothly and you can hear me and you'll learn a few things. I'll also provide my email on the next slide. In case questions come up after the event, I'm quite happy for someone to email them along, and I'll have a go, do my best answering all your questions. So let's begin. Here at Long Road Sixth Form, we have two different types of A-level design technology. There's product design and there is fashion and textiles. Both of these share this very capable and professional team. There's myself, Owen Sherwood. I'm the course leader. And as I mentioned, there's my email. And just in case you're watching on a small screen, I can read it out. It's spelled just as my name is. So it's O Sherwood, SHERWOOD @longroad.ac.uk, and I'm quite happy for you to email me along if you've got any questions. We have one other teacher named Emma Berry who's got quite a lot of experience. She's been teaching DT for some time. She's written a textbook or two, so she knows her stuff. We're very lucky to have her. And we have our dedicated technician whose name is Milenko Bosic, and he is very, very talented, very, very practical, and he helps the students immeasurably, excuse me. So it's a small team, but among us, we look after quite a few students. We've got 4 first-year groups and 3 second-year groups. And yeah, we split the teaching among myself and Emma, and Milenko helps all 3 groups. As I say, we have 2 separate courses. Both of those courses are with the exam board AQA. So if you do want to go on and do some of your own independent research and sort of you can find past papers and things online that will give you, a better idea of what the course is like. That's fine. You just need AQA A-level DT, and you'll be able to find lots of information that way. Both the product design and fashion textiles, the grading is the same. So you get half of your grade is generated from the coursework. This is referred to as the NEA by the exam board, which stands for non-examined assessment. So that's the big major project in the second year. The other 50% of your mark comes from 2 exam papers. So we have 2 papers. They're both at the end of the second year. So, most A-levels have been reformed in that way now, so that the course takes the whole 2 years and the exams are at the end. So we're much the same. One paper is 2.5 hours. The other paper is an hour and a half. So that 50% of that grade breaks down a little bit differently. They're not quite 25 and 25, but to spare you too many details, 50% of the grades come from exams, 50% from the coursework. Both of those papers will have a maths element. So there will be maths questions that are framed. They're sort of put in context with all the other exam learning that we do. So they won't be a straight up, it's not as similar to a maths paper, but that you do need to have a good knowledge of maths. The exam board describes this as higher level GCSE questions. So there is some of that in the exams. We cover that quite thoroughly throughout the 2 years. We've got good resources on hand. We've got excellent. Myself and Emma have been brushing up on our math skills. We've got that down quite well. So on to our entry requirements. Much like all the other A-levels at Long Road, you need to have 7 GCSEs at 4 and above. So that's the minimum to study any A-level here. We're the same. We need to have maths and English. And if you've taken DT at GCSE, we would like a 5. We don't preclude you from taking the A-level if you haven't done it, because we do know that some schools don't offer it, or it was full, or you didn't have the chance, especially in a year like we've had. Excuse me, that flipped automatically. So if you've taken GCSE DT, we would like you to have a 5. It's just historically that shows that you should be able to handle the step up to the A level. If you haven't taken DT, don't worry. We will accept you also based on the regular GCSE requirements, 7.4s and above. So because we are a 2-year course now, we have the opportunity. I'm just going to pause that, sorry, so it doesn't flip on its own. There, now I can move around a bit better. Because we're a 2-year course, we have the opportunity to start this large major coursework project at the end of the first year and the beginning of the second year. So that leaves us with this really great opportunity to have the first year of this course be all about skill building and sort of smaller scale projects that will build up all the skills, all the knowledge you need to then go on and tackle the major project with some confidence and with some advanced skills when the second year begins. During the first year, we also will do a weekly exam theory lesson. Because there is so much weight on the exam materials, we don't like to leave it till any kind of revision at the end. We do it all through the 2 years, week in, week out, and we take each little piece as it comes and we build our exam knowledge that way. In the first year, you will have a mock of both papers. And then we'll do it again in the second year. So by the time we get to the end of the second year, you will have should have been up and down the theory for the exams twice. And you will have plenty of practice papers to go by. So we've got it pretty well worked out. We don't leave it till last. And that sits in nicely alongside these sort of smaller skill building projects. So what I've got next on the next few slides is kind of what I'm doing currently with the first years now. And actually, just before I jump ahead, the background of this slide is a project we just finished up, which we're quite excited about. We've got some good work out of the first years. I'll be sharing it shortly, but we called it Designs for the New Normal, which is quite interesting. The main skill needed in this course is to be a sort of creative problem solver and be able to identify opportunities to design things and fix problems, whether those problems are big or small. So we've challenged the first years to go ahead and think about this new normal, this pandemic world we all live in, and come up with some designs based around that. So they've been working hard on that. We've got some really good results. And I've just put some in this current PowerPoint just to talk you through. It gives you a little bit of visuals about what the first years are up to now. So this kind of thing in the background is the very beginning, a little bit of a mind map to sort of work out to highlight a problem that they might fix. And then if I go ahead, this is Philip. He's a current first year student of mine in one of my groups, and he has taken the designs for the new normal to create himself an elaborate luxury lockdown house, which I found quite good, quite lighthearted approach to it. The main reason I put this on here is to show you that within the product design course, you can focus on sort of an architectural project. It doesn't, there is no strict architecture A level. Sometimes people come looking for that. That's in the product design A level, and you can do a sort of architectural based project. So Phil's really interested in architecture. He's a first year student. He's also quite good at Minecraft and making things with Minecraft. And he asked me if he could use it. So he was showing me this sort of sample stuff he did at home, and I said, yeah, go ahead, let's see what you can do. So this is what he's come up with in Minecraft, which I thought was quite cool and interesting. And the other reason I like to show this one off is because it shows you that you can go about these projects. We're really trying to build you into your own sort of thinker and designer, and you can use your own strengths. So if you've got something that you're good at, chances are we can let you use that as part of your designing. Yeah, I just thought that was quite funny with that big glass dome. It's quite a nice house to be locked down in. Next, we have a textile student. So again, this is the same project. I've got a little quote from Lucy here. I opted for that rather than to have the student's voice come in directly and sort of, I didn't want to get too many talking heads at you. But Lucy's a very talented first year of ours, and she was designing sort of a kid's jacket that was really loud and excitable to celebrate the end of the first lockdown. So then when they finally got out, it was bright, it was colorful. It had, sorry, I've got automatic flipping again. It had sort of the rainbow for the NHS theme going along, and yeah, it was quite good. And this is, I suppose, a little more traditional. This is hand drawn. That sleeve is a bit of cutout paper. Sort of design thinking. I like this one as well because it shows all around the edge the thinking and the annotation you'll be asked to do. So we talk through our thinking a lot as designers on this course. And that project has moved on. As I say, we've just finished that up. And our next small project is, we're calling it simply design skills. It's broad. It's sort of the first really in-depth time we're going to get the students to start to make things and make them with a bit of detail. So what we'll do is, oh dear, flipping again. We get the students to work through a material at a time, and we practice with that. We build the skills, we document it, and we annotate it. So part of the first years, as I say, it's all about exposing students to the different materials and processes we can use, and it's we take them through each material as it comes. So the examples I have are a little bit of both of the textiles and product design current work. However, this is quite current, so I've only got a few things to show you, but I thought it was worth it anyway. So here we have a mix of students' work. So we've got a sort of working model of a hairdryer up there, a bit of car modeling to get them used to using blue modeling foam. Then they've got to do a bit of drawing with perspective this time, and annotating it again, and all that sort of thing. These I quite like. This was an exercise we did on both courses. This is just seeing what you can do with paper, which is a really good sort of initial modeling sort of skill builder. So we've got kind of an architectural project on the left. The one in the middle was a product designer. And the one on the end was a textile student. So we can use textiles paper modeling as well, just to get students going. So that was just working out a skirt and getting the sort of ruffle in it and that sort of thing. And these are the kind of things that we're developing now in their first year. So we'll move on from paper into product designers' next material will be wood and timber. And the textile students will work with calico cotton next, and doing seam samples and trying out lots of dyeing processes and things like that. So it's going to take us past Christmas, this latest thing, where we do sort of intense sort of skill building and materials, techniques, process practice. All the while, we'll be doing weekly exam theory to keep it moving along. I hope to have a lot more of that to show you soon. So after they go through the first year, students will be exposed to all sorts of materials and techniques to use. They will have had lots of practice drawing, explaining their designs, annotating things, evaluating things, all the skills they need to tackle this, the official coursework, the NEA, which we take on in the second year. So that consists of research, designing, manufacturing, and evaluating. This year's mark scheme has got a little bit of a change to it. I think due to the pandemic, the manufacturing has been reduced a little bit, and the design has been increased a little bit. But on the whole, that's the sort of path that you follow. You do a lot of research into this problem. So then you begin designing. If you've done GCSE before, you'll recognize the pattern of the way it works. If you haven't done it before, you will learn that throughout the first year. So we'll be doing all the little bits of coursework in the right order to getting you ready for this point, basically. And if you've done it at GCSE, you'll be having, I guess, yet again, another really good chance to build up our skills and make this project in the second year as best as it can be. So if we go through these, we've got, on the left, we've got a very, very nice piece of textiles making. Really accurate making. That was for a costume, a theater costume, and actually those shoulder, I guess we'll call them epaulettes. Those are 3D printed. So we do try and kind of encourage the product designers to talk to the textile students and vice versa, and get people sort of using all sorts of equipment and processes. The center image is a working sort of Bluetooth speaker, I guess, with sort of it had sort of a steampunk slant on it, so you could see all the workings. And again, that was developed because of this experimenting with materials. You can't quite see it under the text there, but it's got a concrete base and there's steel on the inside and perspex on the outside. So it was all the skills that student gained throughout the first year they applied to their second year project. And on the right, we have a nice architectural model of a village that went alongside a model of one of the detailed houses. So you can still do this second year project is very much directed by the students. In fact, it has to be the students' idea. We can't suggest a focus for that. We can guide them, obviously, but the idea comes from you and comes from the things you're interested in, the things that you found the most exciting and useful in the first year. So I have some current second year work. And again, this is work that is, sort of handed in draft form. So it's not finished, but it is interesting to see. I just thought it would be interesting for people to see what people are working on currently. So here we have Dayan, one of our second year product design students, who is designing a face mask. We've got quite a few of those this year. But this one is quite accomplished. So you can see some of his sketches on the left there as he's working through the problems of airflow, and all these problems were highlighted in his research. So he has a basis for solving these problems. He's talked to people, he's researched other products that are available. And then he goes on the top there, we've got some sort of rough cardboard modeling just to work out shapes. And maybe I think he was doing some distance, from his nose back to where the strap needed to join. And then in the bottom right, we've got some quite whizzy 3D printed sort of forms that he's going to use to shape plastic around. Different types of polymers. He's going to vacuum form around those things. He's going to try to 3D print some of the components that fit the filters and things like that. So that's quite an exciting, sort of really technically interesting project. And again, those bits of modeling and the bits of 3D printing are all things that he did in the first year to sort of get himself built up and ready to tackle this major project. This is another current second year's work, the architecture this time. So this is a little bit more of a sort of, I guess, a finished piece of work, if you like. It's got annotations on it. This is interesting because it shows a bit of the initial designing. So you can see some of those drawings are quite rough, scruffy, to put it a certain way. And then, of course, it's mixed with, down along the right-hand side, we've got some CAD. That's SketchUp in there, and there's also Photoshop in there used to color things. So again, he's using all the CAD skills, which is computer-aided design, by the way. He's using all those skills he gained in the first year to sort of make the work as best as he can. I'm just mindful of my time, so I'm going to speed up just a touch. And here we have a current second year fashion student, and this is Paris, and she is doing something very important that we do. She's letting the experimentation with processes sort of lead the designing, if you like. So this is a piece of fashion work where she started with this idea of wanting to tie-dye. These are things that came up in the research that the client wanted. So she goes and she tries these things and lets that sort of spark those ideas on the right. So in terms of the coursework, as I say, we prep for it in the first year and we do it in the second year officially. During the first year also, we try to enrich, well, in the second year as well, but especially during the first year, we try to get as much enrichment and sort of outside input as we can into these students' brains so that they're very excited, they're very interested, and these are just some of the things we do. So we try and get lots of guest speakers in from industry. Cambridge Industrial Design came in last year. We got university representatives coming in, showing off their work, talking about their courses. We do some local trips. Marshall's Aerospace we've gone to in the last few years. The ARU Graduate Fashion Show. The Kettle's Yard, which is a great resource just up the road from us in Cambridge. So we go out and about, we try and gather sort of influence and inspiration that way. Every year we go to the New Designers exhibition. Unfortunately, this year we couldn't. It was cancelled, like many things. But that is a really good trip we do at the end of the first year. Hopefully this year things will open up again by the summer. And that highlights all the graduating university programs. So it's a big exhibition down in London, and you get to see all the sort of furniture makers. It's hard to spot, but it's actually that picture on the bottom right, taken from up high. There's a booth for every uni, and they show off their best work, and the students get very excited and take lots of pictures and come back ready for the second year project. We also get we do some local and London museum trips. So we go to the Fitzwilliam, which is in Cambridge. We go down into London, go to the Tate, Victoria and Albert. We try and get in as much as we can. COVID regulations allowing, of course. So hopefully, as I say, things will sort of open up. We can do that again. We do get a lot of returning alumni, which is great. That center picture on the right is she gets highlighted a bit later on, but her the lady in the stripy jumper, white jumper with black stripes, is one of my former students named Saskia Daw, and I'll tell you about her in a bit. Let's see. This is some of the leaving second year's work. So these are the students who unfortunately didn't quite finish before lockdown, but we did get pretty far. So I thought it might be good to show you work in its finished state, you know, as finished as it could be. So we have at the larger picture there is a bit of experimentation with the materials, things that carry right over from the first year into the second year. Then we've got a bit of CAD drawing and a model that was unfortunately about, it's 60% finished. She didn't quite get to finish, but Jessica has a quote there. She was great. She loved it. She's gone on to study architecture. And this is one of the nearly finished fashion products. So we have Joanna here, who is designing sort of a Strictly style dancing gown for a real client who does that for a living. And she got as far as that green dress on the left. So she got the pleats made, she's got the form made. That's a photo of her client in the toile, which is the rough garment. And that's a little bit of her CAD Photoshop work, those leaves. So it was a shame they didn't get to finish, but we did get pretty far. And they've been able to go on, these students, and do everything that they wanted. We send our students to very great places. We've got a long list of illustrious destinations that they've gone on to. I won't read through them all, obviously, but some highlights. Loughborough University Product Design is a big major center for that. We get students go on to study architecture, fashion design. Some go into apprenticeships to do bridal gowns. We had a few go on to Richard Designs. We also send a thing that to keep in mind that's quite interesting is at the DTA level, because of the examined content, it has a certain, well, it can evidence sort of a more academic application, if you like. So if a student wants to go on to study things like history or English, you know, having this examined content and working, you know, producing this amount of work shows that you can, it sits nicely in those type of applications as well. So we send people on to all sorts of wonderful places. Some recent success stories. We've got Henry Smith. Henry Smith is one of ours. He left us a couple of years ago. He just finished up his bachelor with a 2-1 in 2019. Poor Henry didn't get to come to see us. He was all excited. He got his presentation made and we got locked down, but we'll get him back in. He's now working. He had a work placement from there. Excuse me. He had a work placement from there. Is now working independently, starting his own little design business, doing quite well, actually, I think. You can give him a Google, if you like. Henry Smith, product design, I think. The link is there, but of course, we can't link it. We can't click those. And then we have Saskia. So Henry obviously came from the product design A-level. Saskia came from the fashion A-level. And she's gone on to do great things. She went to study theater at UAL Wimbledon, University of Arts Wimbledon. She in the theater and screen department doing costume interpretation, which is sort of really skilled making. And she has finished her degree. She's gone on to do work placements, making all sorts of great stuff, costumes for Doctor Who and The Witcher and all sorts of really clever things. She's come back in and talked to our students. The other thing that's quite nice is we get former students to serve as mentors, if they're willing. So Henry has actually helped a student in the past just by, sort of looking over the designs and providing feedback. Saskia is doing that for one of my current second-year students now. So she's been very kind. She's helping out. So it's good. We produce some successful students. They go on and do great things, and then of course we drag them back in and we use them again. But it's very helpful to the current students to see the former students and get a chance to talk to them and see what kind of things they've gone on to do. And let's see, we're nearly finished. So that's about it for the DT PowerPoint. I'm sorry I can't interact and answer questions live, but there is a question and answer bar going on down the side. So hopefully people are taking advantage of that. That email at the beginning, I'm quite happy to answer a question if you've got one. And now I just need to remind you that it would be great to see you again. So we have welcome days in June 2021. I'm just going to slide this over so I can read this a bit better. But if you apply to study with us, you'll be invited to one of these applicant welcome days. So you spend the day here, you meet your teachers, you'll meet lots of your classmates. It's very exciting, so you might want to put that in your calendar. We also have a further open evening in June, which is our normal sort of in-person open evenings. We're planning on having them. And you are, of course, very welcome to come back. This is by no means your only exposure to the college. So after tonight, if you're really interested and you're excited, please come along to those as well. They happen in June. And especially if you've applied to become a student, it's definitely worth it to come and have a wee look. Also, we'd like to just encourage you to please stay in touch. So we've got those social links there. So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's the website. Where lots of sort of smaller news will crop up. You can changes in dates will come up there. Important deadlines for applications and things. The main deadline, please to remember, is if you'd like to come in September, we're going to need your application on the 12th of January, 2021. So that's coming up. College numbers on there if you need to ring, and there's a few emails. They all end in @longroad.ac.uk. So you can email inquiries if you've got further questions, or admissions if you'd like to talk to someone about your application. Let's see. And that is the end of the PowerPoint. The meeting, sorry, my talk is nearly done. I'm just going to, let's see if I can do this. Well, I'll leave it there rather than risk sort of ending the call early. The question and answer column is going to stay up. So if you've got another question, you can type in there. People are watching that. Please feel free to email me at my email address. And I will say good evening. Thank you for coming along. I hope that was helpful to you. And I hope to see you again at the open evenings, perhaps in June. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.